Welcome back, degenerates, to Place Your Bets. I'm Tyler James. He's the one and only Eric Hansen. We cover Notre Dame football, recruiting, and more for InsideNDSports.com on the Rivals Network. And we like to make prop bets and predictions about Notre Dame football. Our season-long competition on the Insider Lounge will reward the first-place subscriber with a free 12-month extension of their subscription, and second place gets 6 free months. If you want to compete, make sure you're a subscriber to InsideNDSports.com and submit your answers to the Google form available over on the Insider Lounge. I'll also include a link to the thread in the video description below. Last week, we shared our regular season prop bets, but now it's time to focus on Saturday's game at Texas A&M. So the first one I have for us, Eric, is over under 1.5 touchdowns responsible for by Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard.
Boy, there's not going to be a lot of touchdowns scored in this game. I'm revealing my score later, but I do think Riley Leonard's going to have a hand or a foot in some of those. So I'm actually going to go over on this, which is a little bit counterintuitive.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm going over. Like you said, I'll share my score prediction later, but I'm not expecting a high scoring game. So there's not a lot of touchdowns to be shared, but I do think because of Leonard's ability to run and throw, we'll still see him hit the over here. I think he maybe gets one each and gets to 2 touchdowns in the game. All right, next one I have for us, Eric, it's over under 32.5 rushing attempts for Notre Dame's offense.
So for me, when you're thinking about a balanced offense, I think the rushing attempts would be a little bit higher than that. And then I'm also throwing in the fact that Riley Leonard is a running quarterback, and he may also be running for his life at times behind a inexperienced offensive line. So and those sacks count as rushing attempts. So I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. Notre Dame had 33 or more rushing attempts in 7 games last season. And that was without a quarterback who liked to take off and run. So I think Notre Dame's going to want to consistently run during this game. And Riley Leonard's going to take some dropbacks and turn them into runs as well. So I'm going to take the over. All right. Which team will have more first downs?
I'm going to go with Notre Dame here. And I just think that their offense will have an easier time driving the ball. I think if Texas A&M is going to score or get first downs, they're going to be more big chunk plays. I don't think they're going to be able to consistently drive the ball against Notre Dame's defense.
Yeah, I went with Notre Dame as well. So we're one track mind here with our first 3 prop bets, but I think
if we're going down together.
That's right. I think this may be pretty close. I expect both teams to have their share of 3 and outs, and maybe even Notre Dame has some more of those with the inexperienced offensive line getting caught up in some situations. But I do think that Notre Dame may be able to sustain some drives a little bit better as well. So that's pushing me in Notre Dame's favor that they'll be able to have a few more first downs than Texas A&M does. All right, before we get to the rest of our prop bets, I wanted to take a moment to remind our audience about our new partner, Autograph. You can now find Inside ND Sports content on the Autograph app, which is free to download on Android and iOS devices. There are many cool tools and features in the app, including the daily replay, which summarizes the news from the previous day with links to content you may have missed. You can download the app using the QR code at the bottom of our screen here on YouTube or by using the link listed in the video or podcast description. From there, go find our content in the Notre Dame community. Make sure you use the referral code INDS so Autograph knows that we sent you. All right, Eric, next one I have for us is over under 3.5 sacks by Texas A&M's defense.
Well, they were 7th in the country last year in sacks at 3.23, I think. So that's pretty close to that number. Given the first game jitters and the inexperience in Notre Dame's offensive line, and that they have really, really good pass rushers, I'm going to go over. I think it'll be 4. I don't think it'll be way over, but I'm going over.
Yeah, I went over as well as we continue to be on the same page. Notre Dame allowed 4 more sacks on just 2 occasions last season. That was against NC State when they gave up 4, and Louisville when there was 5. Both of those games were on the road, which I don't think is a coincidence. And Notre Dame had much better offensive tackles last year. So I do think Riley Leonard may be able to escape some situations better than Sam Hartman did last year. But I do think there's a chance that that confidence in his legs could bite him maybe once or twice. So I'm going to go over. I think there's too much talent in that Texas A&M front and too little experience on Notre Dame's offensive front to feel extremely confident in their ability, in Notre Dame's ability to protect Riley Leonard in this opener. All right, next one. Over under 230.5 passing yards for Texas A&M quarterback Connor Weigman.
I went under with that. I think both of these offenses are going to have trouble getting much over 300 yards in total offense. So I think it's really difficult to get that kind of number, even if you're playing behind against what was the number 1 pass defense in the country last year and may be better this year.
Yeah, I went with under as well. Speaking of that defense last year, Notre Dame only allowed that many passing yards twice last season. That was 260 to NC State and 240 against Ohio State. I'm not sold enough that A&M has enough talent at the wide receiver position that they can overcome what Notre Dame has in its secondary. So I think for that reason, and I think Notre Dame's defensive front should do a good job of keeping Connor Weigman on his toes. I think that Notre Dame's defense will be able to keep Weigman in check and keep him under that 230.5 number. All right, and we always like to add a fun one in here that doesn't count towards our weekly standings. Will the word Colt be mentioned on the ABC broadcast?
I said no. I'm not sure that I must not be in the cult enough to know why that would be happening.
Oh, that's because Texas A&M fans are a cult. I like to joke about that with our friend Carter Carls, and he's not afraid to use it. So I think the ABC announcers are going to do that as well. The Texas A&M fans have some strange traditions, and some people like to joke about them being a cult. So I'm going to say someone on the ABC broadcast will make reference to that.
Okay.
All right, our last one, our final score predictions for Notre Dame, Texas A&M.
I think this game reeks of Notre Dame, Michigan 2018 to start the season, and I think it's going to have an identical score and a pretty similar storyline. So I'm going Notre Dame 24, Texas A&M 17.
I think I gave 17-9 early in the week, and I said, "Hey, don't hold me to this. I need to the end of the week to make my."
You're measuring with your heart now.
Yeah, and I'm measuring with my heart this time. So I'm going Notre Dame 17, Texas A&M 13. I don't think it's going to be a comfortable victory for Notre Dame, but I do think Notre Dame can score enough points, and Notre Dame's defense will be able to limit Texas A&M's offense to get out of College Station with a victory. And put itself in a good position to continue on with what it hopes is a college football playoff run. All right, well, that is it for Place Your Bets. Best of luck with your predictions. Enjoy the return of your favorite football team, and we'll talk to you after the game.